What's up? Any more questions? That was easy.
Welcome to Darlington Raceway for the 65th Annual Bojangles Southern 500 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and the 32nd Annual VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero 200 in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We're joined first by Matt Kenseth. Matt drives the number 20 Home Depot Husky Toyota on the Sprint Cup Series side and the number 16 GameStop Toyota on the NASCAR Nationwide Series side. Matt currently ranks second in Sprint Cup Series points. He's a four-time Darlington Raceway winner with 3 of those victories in the Nationwide Series, and he picked up his first Sprint Cup Series victory here at Darlington a year ago. Matt, talk a little bit about what it's like to win at a racetrack with this much history.
Yeah, man, I always feel like the Southern 500 is one of the biggest races of the year. Certainly it was right up toward the top of my list of tracks I wanted to win at that I never won at before last year. So it was a really big win. It was exciting. It didn't look like we were going to win, and Kyle had that problem late, and we were able to sneak by him there with 10 to go or something like that. So it was a big week for us, and it was really cool to be able to finally win the Southern 500 for sure.
Go ahead and open up questions for Matt. Go to Kenny right there.
Kenny versus NASCAR.com. Matt, how much does the track change from when the race starts to later? Because this is one that you start out in the day on.
Yeah, I mean, it changes, I think, quite a bit. Over the years, it's changed here a little bit, and I think especially when you first get on the track until you get done late Saturday night, it seems like there's quite a bit of change. It's something you definitely have to keep up with.
Pete Iacobelli with the AP. Matt, does the date here racing in April instead of Mother's Day mean anything? Does it change how you're going to drive this track at all because of the condition?
It doesn't change how you're going to drive it at all. Conditions is a little hard to predict just because we only come here once a year. I don't think anybody really tests or anything. So, but with the weather forecast being decent, I can't really remember the weather last May, but it's supposed to be pretty warm the next couple days. So I think that's good. I think that'll be good for the fans, and I think that'll probably be good for the race and everything too. That's not going to be too terribly cold at night.
He's got another one.
And I guess with so many different winners here so far in Sprint Cup, is there a difference in how you guys are approaching each race? Simply because if you win, you pretty much know that you're getting into that chase for the championship at the end.
No, not really for me. I mean, I've never been in a race I didn't want to win. We show up every week, with bringing our best stuff with the idea of try to figure out how to sit in a pole and win the race. So that's really never changed since I started racing. I think the only time it really changes is maybe when you get to Homestead. You've seen a lot of years where somebody has a pretty big, point cushion or whatever. He's not going to go out there and probably try to win the race. He's going to try to make sure he doesn't fall out of the championship. So it's certainly going to change that and spice things up that last week for sure. You're going to see those 4 guys racing as hard as they can to try to beat the other 3. So that's so I think it might change a little bit that week. But other than that, I really don't feel like it changes. It just rewards the winners differently. Obviously, it gets them a better chance of being qualified to be in a chase, toward the end of the year. So I think there's more significance to the win than maybe what there was at some of the races last year. If a guy was way down in points or didn't think they would even get a wild card, that type of thing. But other than that, I really don't think so. I really think that all these races are huge, to try to win. You saw that with Regan Smith here a few years ago, just staying out on tires, just a roll of dice to try to have a pair to win that race, and was able to hold on and win it. So, I mean, I think people are always have that in their mind.
Let's go up front right here.
Colin Gasquet, News 13 in Myrtle Beach. Running in the nationwide race the night before, especially at a track like Darlington that has so many different kinds of challenges, how much does that help for the Sprint Cup race to go ahead and get that in the night before?
Well, that's always debatable. There's always an argument there whether it helps or doesn't help or whatever. But I think these places where you come to only once a year, I mean, I always find it nice to be able to get the extra track time. You're on the same tire, and I can kind of see the changes that the track will go through racing at night. Learn a little bit about the tire combination and what it's going to do in a longer run, that type of thing. So I don't think it hurts. Sometimes I'm not sure how much it helps just because the rules are quite a bit different. But certainly these places you only get to once a year. It's fun to come out and compete the night before and get some track time.
Reggie Anderson from News 19 in Columbia. Just, you kind of touched on it, but coming back as the defending champion at a place like this with so much history, to have your name out there on that wall of winners, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of touched on before. I mean, it's I think one of the biggest races of the year. Certainly one of the most historic. I was really it was always on top of my list to try to win the 500 on Labor Day. Back before they paved it when it was so slick and the race was so long and the conditions were always horrible. It was always just really really hot. But to be able to win here in any kind of race, any kind of car, any conditions, and certainly the Southern 500 is always. Is I think special to. I think you could ask anybody that's won it, and they'd tell you that. So it's like I say, in my mind, it's one of the biggest races of the year, and you always want to come here and try to run good.
Go right here.
Joe Morano with WMBF in Myrtle Beach. Have you ever seen a season start out this way? Is it a little more stiff, being there's 7 races, 7 different winners? How much more tense is it when you get out there between everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm totally shocked. I think whenever you throw a pretty big rules change, at everybody. Some people are going to, pick up on it sooner than others. I think it always spreads the field out a little bit, because some guys are going to hit it, some guys are going to miss it. And I think that always creates passing and mixes the field up and makes the racing more interesting in my mind. So I think that every week, is probably gaining on it, and the field's going to get closer together, as we keep rolling through the year here. But yeah, it's been interesting. 'Cause there's been a lot of different winners, and been some guys that have won a lot that haven't won yet. So it's been an interesting year for sure.
Anything else? Oh, Kenny.
Matt, before they changed the format for the chase this year, did you pay close attention to the points, and are you paying any less attention to it this year because of the changes?
I don't know about close attention. I mean, you kind of always know where you're at. Once the week is over, you maybe glance at the standings. They always park in order points, so when you show up park the next week, you kind of know where you're at. And that really hasn't changed. So I don't know. I think maybe when you get closer to the 26 cutoff, I think you probably study it a little bit more and see where everybody is and who's in and who's out and that kind of thing. So you just don't really know how it's going to turn out. I mean, is there going to be 10 winners? Is there going to be 20 winners? I mean, I don't know the way it's going. So, how important are your points going to be? I mean, I would think, history suggests that there's going to be a few guys added by points that didn't win. So certainly if that's the case and you haven't won yet, I think the point standings are very important. So, but, come September, you don't really know how important they're going to be.
Going into this year with Gibbs, just your comfort level as opposed to last year when you were, still kind of trying to get used to everything? Yeah,
I mean, I think the longer, you're at somewhere, the more, I guess, comfortable you probably are, and more people you get to know, that type of thing. For sure. So I don't know. It's hard to, put a number on it or really describe how much more comfortable you are or you aren't really. I mean, last year at this time I was pretty comfortable. We had a couple wins. We were leading a lot of laps. Things were really clicking along. We had some adversity along the way, and we had some things happen, but we were really we're performing at a really 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 high level. So I was pretty comfortable and having a lot of fun. And I'm still comfortable. We're still having fun. We want to be better. We set that bar so high last year that I think we expect that from ourselves, all the time. So we're still trying to get a little bit better, to get back up and be leading more laps and put ourselves in position to win more races and hopefully get a win here pretty soon.
Let's take one more right here in the front.
Mark Haggard from WPDE in Myrtle Beach, Florence. Let me ask you about the two young drivers on the circuit. Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. Could you talk about them a little bit separately?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle has obviously got a lot of talent. He's been running really good in Cup, taking off and running good over there. He's actually been running a lot better in Nationwide Series than what he did last year as well. Obviously got a lot of talent. Chase, I've watched race a lot. He's raced against my son a lot, so I've seen him in late models, for the last couple of years. I've even raced against him in late models a little bit. And, you could see from the start that he's very talented, and at the same time he's very, very, very smart and calculated, especially for his age, which, if you watched Bill race for a lot of years, I don't think the apple fell far from the tree there. So, obviously both those two have a bright future in front of them.